first story is titled, Am I the a-hole for giving my sister an ultimatum unless she babysits my daughter? Hi all. Sorry, I'm 28 female on mobile. During the great year of 2020, my sister, 25 female, lost her job and lost her apartment. It sucks all around. She loved her job and the area she was in, but she was the newest employee on a department that was the most likely to be downsized. She asked to move in with me. I live in the next major city near her and gave her an opportunity. I have a 3-year-old daughter, and around the time she had been laid off, my babysitter had to quit because of 2020 reasons. I live in a 3-bedroom house in the outskirts of town, so I offered that she gets her own room, bills paid, and groceries if she watches my daughter while at work until she finds a job/gets her job back. I didn't ask her to cook or clean. I prefer to cook, and I prefer to clean myself, so I know that it got done. At the time, she agreed. I prepared my daughter's meals in the morning and meds every day, so my sister's job is to make sure that when I get home, my daughter is still alive. It's been 2 months, and they seem to have really bonded well. But she confronts me last night, demanding she be paid $25 an hour every time she has to babysit. Her last job was $15 an hour, and she watched my daughter for about 8 hours a day, 4 to 5 days a week. Her current bills, including car payments, student loans payments, and cell phone bill and credit card payments, the cost of the room, any activity that she takes my daughter on, pandemic permitting, and groceries add up to more than what she made in the past. I told her that I couldn't afford to house her, feed her, pay her bills, and also a sizable stipend. I might be able to do like a stipend per 2 weeks, maybe $200 a week for personal things. She told me she wouldn't watch my daughter any longer. I told her if she doesn't, then I would be making her move out, following all legal proceedings, and wouldn't pay her bills any longer. I have a backup babysitter who I would pay what they quoted me, but they wouldn't be leaving with me. They would have a living wage for the area, $20 an hour, plus additional compensation for activities that they take my daughter on. My sister started crying and left the room. Am I the a-hole? I feel horrible. I hate confrontation and being mean. Thank you for judgment and advice. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Yeesh, talk about biting the hand that feeds. Crap, for that pay, I'll be more than willing to be her nanny. Exactly. The other alternative is OP says sister is right, and they should put the whole arrangement on a more formal footing with a rental contract and an employment contract. She will pay $25 per hour babysitting, and sister can pay $800 rent plus $200 bills and buy and cook her own food. Sister will also have set responsibilities as part of the childcare, which includes preparing the kids' meals and supervising all homework and school pickup. Not the a-hole. She's being completely unreasonable. Do a bit of quick, dirty Googling to find out market rates for renting a single room in someone else's home. Add in the cost of all her monthly bills, plus the amount your grocery bill has increased with her there. Include how much that works out to hourly, the range low to high, based on a 30 to 40 work week. Write it all down so it's right there on paper for both of you to see. Then explain that this is how much you are paying her to babysit. And if she doesn't like this wage, she's welcome to get out. It is the goddamn height of entitled a-holery to ask your single mom, sister, to house you when you lose your job, pay all of your monthly bills, including credit cards, provide you with food and all the other necessities of life, with no expectations of cleaning or cooking, then be upset that you have to exchange 30 to 40 hours of your life hanging out with a delightful toddler you love dearly for all this. Thank you. Yeah, my husband unfortunately passed away last year. Life hasn't been that great lately. Haha. My daughter is my entire world, and my sister and my daughter love each other. I thought that bringing my sister in, they could bond, and I wouldn't have to worry about pandemic and strangers meeting my daughter. I am one of those folks who gives literally everything to anyone. Probably my fatal flaw. Haha. Thank you for your words. Now for the second story. Am I the a-hole for snapping at sister-in-law over parentification comments? My 29 female daughter, who we'll call Zuzu, is 3 and obsessed with babies. She has told me she wants 700 babies when she grows up, normal, and my wife has joked that going into her room at night is creepy, because in the bed there's like 17 baby dolls and then our actual daughter. Naturally, when her younger sister, 10 months old, was born, Zuzu was over the moon. She came into the hospital room, jumped onto the bed next to me and told me I'm gonna be her new mama. She always wants to help with her sister. For a 3-year-old, That means small things like helping me pick out an outfit for the baby, holding her while she watches TV, helping with feeding the baby, etc. Zuzu is constantly supervised while doing these things because she's 3 and, can see a bird in the window and then all focus is on that. My sister-in-law is solidly child-free, which is fine and her choice. But lately, whenever she's been over and Zuzu has been playing with her sister, which nowadays means putting little sister in a doll stroller and parading her around the house, she has started going on about parentification. She has told us Zuzu will resent us for this, and that kids who are forced to be parents are depressed grown-ups. Yesterday was no different. We were eating lunch and Zuzu asked if she could feed a baby some food. I actually said no, because we were in a rush, and sister-in-law said, "See? That's what you should be saying. It's horrible and wrong you would force a child into a parent's position." Well, I had enough and asked her to leave, and said that if she was going to keep making comments like that, she wouldn't be welcome. Wife agrees with me and said if I hadn't said it, she would have, but I've gotten some supremely nasty texts from sister-in-law saying she was just trying to help. Some of my friends who are aware of the situation said I shouldn't have been so harsh either. Am I the a-hole? Edit. Sister-in-law is 5 years younger than my wife, who is 32. They have no other siblings, and from what I have seen, wife has told me, etc., there was never anything like parentification ever. Now, for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Parentification is abuse. My mother did it to me, but this is not parentification. Seconded, as someone who was also parentified. Parentification is forced caregiving and does not allow a child to be a child. Zuzu clearly enjoys helping with her sister, and these are things she chooses to do, rather than you forcing her. Sister-in-law needs to get a grip. Not the a-hole. Thirded, my brother was parentified and had zero ability to cope with it, because he was only 14. A lot of messed up things happened as a result, and now I have lifelong post-traumatic stress disorder. Not the a-hole, OP. Not the a-hole. First, no forcing there. She's asking. Second, it's totally natural. And finally, getting toddlers involved is a really good way of heading off sibling rivalry. You're doing fine. Sister-in-law should butt out. I absolutely agree. I was obsessed with my brother when he was born. Younger siblings are the best. Can't teach your Cabbage Patch Kids dumb first words while mom and dad are angling for mama and dada. Zuzu's trying to get her first word to be Zuzu, of course, or sunglasses, which I have no explanation for. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for asking my daughter to share her college fund with her brother? I have 2 kids. Luke is 20 and Grace is 18. My soon-to-be ex-husband has a younger sister who is the same age as Luke. When Luke was 8, he put gum in her hair as a prank, and he was severely punished, but nothing could subdue my mother-in-law. She had to cut her daughter's hair, though she spent a small fortune on the best quality hair extensions she could, and sister-in-law hated Luke from that moment on. Mother-in-law and her husband hated him as well. She said he wasn't her grandson. He was never allowed in her house. Her husband actually said he should drop dead. Looks are everything in that family. My mother-in-law pretty much never saw Luke again, never bought him a Christmas or birthday gift. I wanted to go no contact, but my husband insisted that he wasn't losing his mom and continued to go over there with Grace. My husband also has an older sister with 2 kids. I knew mother-in-law paid for their college, but I figured she would not pay for either of ours. Well, my daughter recently turned 18, and mother-in-law let her know that she has $200,000 for her. Grace didn't try to rub it in, but she was very emotional and couldn't control her reaction in front of Luke, because up until this point, she had been looking for scholarships and planning on community college. Luke does go to community college while working part-time. I asked Grace to consider sharing the money because of how irrational her grandmother is, and because Luke is literally being punished for something he did at 8. Grace got offended and said she already felt bad for Luke, and that I as the mother should be impartial and not guilt-trip her. My soon-to-be ex also got mad and said I put pressure on her and now she feels uncomfortable. Now for the top comments. You're the a-hole, but not for asking your daughter to share. You're the a-hole for staying in that marriage for so long and allowing your mother-in-law and her family to emotionally abuse your son while favoring his sister in his face. It probably hurt him even more that his own father was allowing it to happen and even encouraged it by still having a relationship with his mother and visiting with your daughter. This is the only "you're the a-hole" I agree with. Her husband, the boy's father, was part of this abusive behavior. Instead of standing up for his son, who was just a little boy at 8 years old, he chose his mother and her terrible behavior, which most likely only enabled it. Could you imagine how that felt to a child? And then you have to live with this man. It's extremely toxic. You're the a-hole. 2 things. 1. If Grace even hinted that she was giving money to Luke, your mother-in-law would pull the money, and you know it. 2. I find it very hard to believe that Luke is not troubled. Either what he did at 8 was way worse than, whoops, got gum in your hair, or it's just part of a pattern. Doesn't really matter though. You're responsible for your own kid's college tuition. Look at the mother-in-law money as if Grace got a scholarship. She's all set, so figure out what you want to do for Luke. 2. Even if Luke was troubled, he was excluded from the extended family when he was 8. With not possibility to make amends or mature, that's really quite harsh. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to share my car with my sister? When I, female 18, was 16 but didn't have my driver's license yet, my parents told me I had to buy my own car or I would be unable to drive myself anywhere. I didn't mind, as I had been saving and had a job to help me pay for this. I found a car I absolutely love. It's a bit old, but in good condition, and I paid $8,000 for it. I have driven my car for almost 2 years and I love the car. I didn't go to college this year because of safety concerns, so I am doing college online at home. I figured I would continue to drive my car so I could go to work or anything else I needed to do. My sister, 16 female, got her license late this summer. My parents told me she would be renting my car so that she could drive herself to school. I asked why she couldn't buy her own car like I had to, but my parents never explained it to me. My sister takes the car every weekday, and most Saturdays and Sundays as well. She pays for gas, but does not pay me to use the car. She now has free unrestricted access to my car whenever she wants it, and I am unable to drive myself to work or the store, so I have to get someone to pick me up or walk. I don't think this is fair, since I paid for the car with my own money from working, and I am also worried because my sister does not have a good track record for driving. My parents say I'm the a-hole and not a good sibling when I vocally express that I want to be able to use my car. Am I the a-hole? Now, for the top comments. You are certainly not the a-hole here. If your parents were fine with you paying $8,000 for the car, they should be fine with your sister paying you back $4,000, minus a bit because of depreciation, of course. When it comes time to service the car, buy new tires, change the oil, etc., will it still be a shared car or is it your car again? Important distinction to be made there. Maybe have a conversation with your parents about that. Edit. Addition to first part of my post. I also think it could be helpful for you to keep a detailed record of when you use the car versus when your sister uses the car, so they can see and note certain terms that it's unfairly skewed to one side. Noting the times when you weren't able to drive yourself to work or other important engagements because of her having the car could also help your case. This is often how it works with the younger siblings. They take a hard line with the older one but soften up for the baby and can't justify their reasoning. Not the a-hole. Put a stop to this immediately. As the car owner, you are liable for any damage or accidents that your sister gets into. If she hurts someone, you could be sued. This is a dangerous situation for you. Aside from that, she isn't renting your car. She's stealing it. She isn't paying to help with the upkeep either. Parts need to be replaced due to wear and tear. Take your keys back and put your foot down. No is a complete sentence. And that's the end of this video, folks. As always, leave a comment and hit like and subscribe. And if you want more of this content, turn your notification on to get updated on the latest videos. And I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe.